Hello, my name is Kate Varini, and this week we're talking about revenue management tactics that will develop long-term profit and ongoing growth in profits. And really we need to think about ethical concerns and customer perceptions of what we do. So another sticky topic that I'd like to talk about this week is the topic of, as you can see from the picture here, overbooking. Now looking at that picture, look how joyful everybody looks on that train. And they're very, very happy because they managed to get on the train and they're on the way home at the end of a very hard week. Now if, of course, for health and safety reasons, we said people are not allowed to sit on the top of the train or hang on the train, then clearly a lot of those people would be disappointed because they wouldn't be able to get home because there would be no space available for them on the train. So something to think about when we think about doing overbooking and other linked strategies like overselling, for example. So what I want to talk to you now about is some research that I did with Yuping Li on perspectives of the positive impacts of overbooking and the impacts these positive perceptions, if you like, have on customer loyalty, because so much of the time the people who criticize revenue management tactics are the ones, I believe, don't fully understand it, because whenever we go and look at articles, for example, about overbooking, we see they're simply talking about the negative issues that arise because we don't do it right. Now we have to keep in mind that the idea of overbooking is that we do it so that we don't end up with any unsold inventory units. We don't, for example, in a hotel, end up with empty rooms. And we don't do it so that we actually have to send people to another hotel. That's when it goes wrong. So we can do overbooking in a very conservative way, in a way where we don't actually create any damage at all. But what I'd like to present to you is the idea that we can do overbooking and we can actually have a positive impact on customer loyalty because of the way we deploy our overbooking strategies. So, just to clarify some definitions, overbooking can be interpreted in different ways, as we see here. We can think about overselling. Now, overselling is really selling more units than you expect to be able to accommodate customers, meaning that we're selling to such a level that we know we're not going to be able to put all of our customers in the rooms available, and that we'll have to, for example, do some complimentary upgrading or send the overspill to a sister property close by. So overbooking normally has the intention that we don't walk anybody. Overselling is a more aggressive strategy where we know we will not be able to accommodate everyone. We also can think about extensions, allowing customers to extend their stay when we're already sold out. Why would we do that? Well, of course, we know that when we have regular customers, when we have customers that are already in the hotel, it becomes quite challenging to say, no, you can't stay one more night, although we try sometimes. We also can think about washdown factors, and that's thinking about when we have a group request for, let's say, 100 rooms, but we perhaps know from our experience that those customers are really only going to use 70 of the rooms, we might only create a group block for 70 rooms, but the contract perhaps with the person bringing the group might be for 100. So that's another way to think about overbooking. Now the question arises when we're in an overbooked scenario, in fact an oversold scenario, where we know we're not going to be able to accommodate everybody, we need to have a strategy in place about who's going to be walked. And we need to think about the scenarios of people and of customers where those that should never be walked and those that maybe could be walked and have a positive impact on long-term revenue as well as loyalty. So I'm going to let you read these slides. I'm not going to read them out to you, so just press pause so you can completely read the slide. This is an extract from an article I wrote and published recently. So who to walk and who to deny, factors affecting the perceptions of fairness. Again, press pause so you can finish reading the slide. The next slide talks about expectations and risk. Press pause to finish reading. And then we see some examples of overbooking scenarios. So we see some examples on the left and some reflections on the right. So have a read of those and reflect on what you're reading, please. Moving on, the next slide talks about the value of demonstrating a professional, respectful and caring stance. So it's thinking about when we're in that overbooking scenario, how can we act, how we deal with the customers, how we talk to them, and what we offer in terms of alternative accommodation, and how we're going to get those to the people to the alternative accommodation is going to have a massive impact on how that customer feels about the overbooking situation. At the end of that slide, it talks about how we can do hedging. And hedging is a risk management strategy that allows us to anticipate the fact that we may be in an oversold scenario through sometimes no fault of our own. Therefore, what products can we already have in place to allow us to actually walk customers and only create positive feelings within those customers? So have a look at that slide, some examples. And then we have a slide that talks about customer advocates. So we want our customers to actually feel so loyal to our products and our business that they feel compelled to go and tell others about how wonderful it is. That's an advocate. An advocate is also somebody who, if another customer posts a negative review, the customer advocate will actually come and say, no, it's not true, I haven't seen that, and actually defend the business. And that type of scenario actually neutralizes a negative review. So if someone posts a negative review and another customer comes and defends the organization, this has a neutralizing effect on the negative review. So something that we would very much like to have. So we need to build these customer advocates. Now, the next slide talks about how negative situations can provide opportunities. So it can provide us opportunities to actually anticipate what customers are expecting and over-deliver. And we can use overbooking scenarios to actually bond with the customer by maybe offering the opportunity to have some really personalized and special experiences with us. So the next slide is about service recovery and about the different types of justice. So read those through, please. And here on the next slide we see some results from a survey that I did with some revenue management professionals, asking them, how do you feel about overbooking? How could we actually implement overbooking in order to generate more positive feelings of loyalty? And here you can read their comments and their feedback on those questions. There was another question about the perception gap. How can we find volunteers to be walked? And have a look at that, please. And also have a look about the slide that talks about survey respondents agreed that if we do the communication in the right way, if the compensation is appropriate and the process is done correctly, then we shouldn't risk any loss, any financial loss. And the financial loss can be linked to the fact we have to pay for an alternative for the customer, but the financial loss can also be related to loss of goodwill. Here we see some more responses from the survey. And we see some responses about what respondents actually disagreed on. So there was a very low level of disagreement, but the people who were answering the survey, the revenue management professionals, thought it might not be a good idea to actually be too transparent about our overbooking policies. And there you see the conclusion to that research study. So that's the end of the section of overbooking. And now it's for you to reflect on how we can create positive experiences from doing overbooking. And the next video is going to talk about risk management. So see you in the next video. Thank you.